Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
On this day, we gather because we have chosen hope over fear. There are some who question the scale of our ambitions, who suggest that our system cannot tolerate too many big plans. Their memories are short, for they have forgotten what this country has already done, what free men and women can achieve when imagination is joined to common purpose. We are going to need you, not just today, not just tomorrow, but this year, for the next 4 years, and who knows after that, because together we are going to change America.
We'd gotten a call from the White House saying that they would like us to take a red-eye flight to fly out there. And we thought they were joking. So like my grandma, I think, hung up on them the first time.
I actually thought somebody was pulling a prank call because it was the White House. As soon as we touched ground, there was somebody waiting for us to rush us to the White House because our flight got in at like 6:20 in the morning and was due to kick off at 8 a.m.
The first person I saw walking in when I walked in was Obama. I thought, wow, that's crazy.
Mr. President, I think we got a happy room here.
There were so many people who were so excited.
Today, after almost a century of trying, today, after over a year of debate, today, after all the votes have been tallied, health insurance reform becomes law in the United States of America.
I was in the back, like behind everybody, so I wasn't at the front originally because the place that I was in the picture was where Joe Biden was originally going to be. So he had moved them and then put me right there. And then as he was signing, Joe Biden leaned over my shoulder and told me to watch the pens go by as he was signing it. And I was just watching the pens go by as he was signing it and like saw his name slowly like coming up onto the page. When he finished the signing, he turned to me and looked at me. I think I was the first person he had shaken hands with after that.
Early on in his presidency, the Republicans met in a restaurant determined to stop him at all costs. Whatever he proposed, they were going to stop. And not only that, but they told the American people this, which is the most bizarre thing, is that Senator McConnell came out and said, our goal is to make him a one-term president. There were no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Our top political priority over the next 2 years should be to deny President Obama a second term.
When the head of the Senate says the #1 job is to make Obama a one-term president, not the economy, not health care, not the environment, not crime. Your #1 job is to stop the first black man from being president on the second term. That sends a message.
In the end, he did get the legislation through, but just barely.
It reads like something that was brought up in the early 1930s in Germany. It is not good for the free country.
I've heard that one Republican strategist told his party that even though they may want to compromise, it's better politics to go for the kill.
We're gonna kill the bill!
This isn't about me. I have great health insurance, and so does every member of Congress.
It was a much harder task than I think he ever envisioned for a couple of reasons. One being that he thought that if he gave a little, he thought that he could work the Republicans on this. He didn't realize that the political factions were as strong in Washington as they were. He inherited a financial crisis that was, nothing that we had seen since the 1930s.
Entire sectors of the U.S. economy were hanging in the balance.
The banks were in failure. I don't know that we really understand how monumental a task that he had.
800,000 Americans were losing their jobs a month, and it's very hard to be a great power abroad when you're collapsing here at home.
The economy was still in free fall. Taking on healthcare reform is something that perplexed a lot of people. It perplexed his own advisors. Taking on healthcare is just an issue we don't need right now. Why do this? Let's get the economy roaring again and spend our political capital on that.
Mercy was 7 when my daughter fell ill.
She got sick, and she had to start missing work to try to get herself better, but she started missing too much work, so eventually she got fired from her job and then in turn lost her health care. So she wasn't able to go get the care that she needed.
Mercy was really bitter and angry.
She wound up passing away in 2007 on June 18th.
She didn't have to pass the way she did. We tried to get her on Medicaid. The state told us Tiffany didn't qualify because she had worked for a full year prior. So Tiffany was stuck with no health care.
Marcellus lost his mom to an illness. She didn't have insurance and couldn't afford the care that she needed. So in her memory, he has told her story across America so that no other children have to go through what his family's experienced.
This is a man who wanted equal opportunities for everyone. This is a man who didn't stop at any one group of persons or people to get something across. Everything he did has helped every human being across our nation.
Is there one thing from that day that always sticks in your mind?
Yes. The look in Obama's eyes when he looked at Mercy after signing the bill. That look of him telling Mercy without using words, "This is you and me, kid." That was a moment I'll never forget.
It was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life, because I always have wished that I could go to the White House. I didn't think I'd ever live to see a black president.
Virginia McLaurin?
Hey!
How are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, it's so nice to see you.
It's an honor.
You want to say hi to Michelle?
Yes!
Slow down now. Don't go too quick. She's 106.
No, you are not. You are not.
You slow down.
Oh my goodness. You are not. I want to be like you when I grow up.
She's dancing? Come on. So what's the secret to still dancing at 106?
Yup. Just keep dancing. Yep. Yeah.
Come on.
And I was looking up.
We're so happy to have you here. And look at those nails.
Nails are all down.
Those nails.
I enjoyed that day. Oh, I've been happy ever since.
Yes, sir. I thought I would never live to get in the White House.
Well,
You are
right
here.
And I tell you,
You are
I am
here.
so happy.
We are happy to have you.
Unlike President.
Then look at him.
Yay!
Right there.
Like,
That's me.
yes. And I'm here to celebrate Black history.
That's exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
That's
All my life. Dancing with him and being in the White House, I'll never forget it. I will never forget that. And seeing the black man in there ruling stuff, I'll never forget it, because I didn't think that it would ever happen.
You have just made our day. You know that? That energy, man.
You made my day.
I enjoyed that day.
What's the address of the emergency?
Please, Emmanuel Church, there's plenty of people shot down here. Please send somebody right away.
Emmanuel Church? And there's people shot?
Yeah, he shot the pastor. He shot all the men in the church. Please come right away.
Did you see him at all?
Yes, he's a young 21-year-old white dude. There's so many people dead, I think. Oh, my God.
You said there's so many people dead?
I think they're dead, yes.
When you hear about tragedies in other places, you're kind of far removed from it. But when you're actually in the city and you know not just one of the persons, but you know all of them and their family members, that really hits home then.
Dylann Roof killed black people, and he went to where they were, not because of their faith. He went because he knew, one, the church was significant, his own words, and because he knew there would be black people there and there wouldn't be a lot of them. Be just enough to kill.
To the families of the fallen, the nation shares in your grief. Our pain cuts that much deeper because it happened in a church. The church is and always has been the center of African American life. A place to call our own in a too often hostile world. A sanctuary from so many hardships.
destiny would have it, I just happened to be sitting at the organ, listening to the president's message, and all we could really see was really the back of his head.
Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Amazing grace, how sweet. Then everybody starts chiming in. The sound that saved a wretch like me. Amazing Grace is one of those hymns that really touches the young, the old, male, female. And no matter who sings it, it's a personal testimony for any individual who sings it to how great and amazing God's grace is. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. He kind of paused and kind of looked down one time, and then he started singing. And everyone just kind of looked at each other, and we said, oh, start singing. So I just kind of closed my eyes, said a quick prayer, and said, okay, we're going to go with it. And I guess they say the rest is history.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was
just to see the joy on people's faces, to hear the cheers and to see the tears. Just a moment of pure joy.
A decade ago, politicians ran against LGBT rights. Today, they're running towards them. Right?
John, my partner of almost 21 years, was dying of ALS, motor neuron disease, and he was in at-home hospice care, and I was his primary caregiver. All we were looking for was dignity and respect. On June 26, 2015, when the Supreme Court ruled in Obergefell v. Hodges, they said that the Constitution demands that every American, regardless of sexual orientation, deserves and has the right to marry the person they love, and that all the states must recognize those lawful marriages.
The marriage equality is about our civil rights and our firm belief that every citizen should be treated equally under the law.
So they hand me this telephone on speaker in the midst of this huge crowd, and it's the president.
Jim,
I figured when I saw you that we were going to be hoping for some good news, and we did. And I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it was your wishes.
You know, your leadership on this, you know, has changed the country.
I was in that spot. I ended up in that place because I loved my husband and I wanted to fight for him. And then to get a call from the president, you know, in the midst of this loud cheering crowd, trying to hear him on a speakerphone and hanging up, and every interviewer after that asking me what he said or what I said, and all I could say was, I have no idea. It's really been an honor for me to be involved in this fight and to have been able to, you know, fight for my marriage and live up to my commitments to my husband. So I appreciate everything you've done for the LGBT community, and it's really an honor to have become part of that fight.
Well, I'm really proud of you, and you know, just know that you know, not only have you been a great example for people, but you're also going to, you know, bring about a lasting change in this country, and it's pretty rare where that happens. So I couldn't be prouder of you and your husband, and God bless you.
For me as an American citizen to see the most important person in our nation say I matter, and for my family and friends to hear him say that, you can't calculate the impact that that has.
My friend called. She said, it's a shooting and it's at our school. I just collapsed to the floor, and my classmates picked me up. One of them bundled me into a car, and we started the drive to Sandy Hook. As we got closer, there were cars everywhere. People were just abandoning their cars and running. But I couldn't see Dylan anywhere. And I just assumed Dylan was hiding, or that he'd run off because he's autistic and the loud noises would have scared him, or that Mrs. Murphy was holding him somewhere and protecting him. Then after a while, they asked all the parents that were still there to go into the back room. Some people were crying. Most of us were just kind of lost. And then Governor Malloy came. He broke the silence and said the things that no one wanted to say. If you're still in this room waiting for your loved one, it means they're not coming back to you. And he talked about how many children had been shot and killed. He told us that 2 had been taken to hospital but had died en route. And the place just erupted. There was screaming and wailing, and I just shut down. I just completely shut down.
The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. They had their entire lives ahead of them. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, kids of their own. Among the fallen were also teachers, men and women who devoted their lives to helping our children fulfill their dreams.
So our hearts are broken today.
I mean, what mother can, you can't accept that your child is dead. It's not something that your heart or your brain can understand. I couldn't accept it, and there's a part of me still today that doesn't accept it. Because it's impossible to believe that he's not part of my life anymore. And even now, you know, it's 4 years later, and I'll still find myself looking in the rearview mirror trying to see if he's in his car seat. That's not going to go away. We decided that we wanted to go and hear what the president had to say, so we agreed to meet with the president privately. No cameras, no media. It was just a very private conversation. I remember when the president came into our room, the first thing he asked was about Dylan. You know, he knew the names of everyone. He wanted to see pictures. He wanted us to talk about Dylan. He hugged me very, very tightly. I remember my dad saying, you know, Mr. President, you have the power to do something. You have to do something about this. And the president said, I will do something.
Surely we can do better than this. If there's even one step we can take to save another child, or another parent, or another town, then surely we have an obligation to try. We can't accept events like this as routine. Are we really prepared to say that we're powerless in the face of such carnage? That the politics are too hard?
I think him coming to Newtown and doing his speech in the Newtown High School, meeting the families, showed how personally touched he was by this and how personally committed he was to not letting this happen again. I think the moment that I recall the most is when he read out all the names. And honestly, there was a part of me that was still hoping Dylan's name wasn't on the list.
Charlotte, Daniel, Olivia, Josephine, Anna, Dylan.
But hearing him say all 26 names,
Catherine.
That's the moment that probably sticks with me most, because it wasn't just a group of children or a group of educators. He was speaking about them as people and as individuals.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Emily, Jack, Noah, Caroline, Jessica.
The yeas are 54, the nays are 46. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the adoption of this amendment, the amendment is not agreed to.
A minority in the United States Senate decided it wasn't worth it. They blocked common sense gun reforms even while these families looked on from the Senate gallery.
I think it probably is the biggest disappointment of his presidency, because he just wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to provide something that could help others and deliver on his promises.
our expressions of grief and our commitment to do something different to prevent these things from happening are not empty words.
He was angry.
So all in all, this was a pretty shameful day for Washington.
It was a Congress that just wasn't going to allow him to get anything through. And if the loss of a couple of dozen children to gun violence isn't enough to change our gun laws in our country, I don't know what will do it. If there was a darkest day in his presidency, that might have been it.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
The United States, for a variety of reasons, was not seen as a source of inspiration or hope for many in the world.
If there's a theme to the last 16 years, the theme is this. George W. Bush, his administration, was a demonstration of the perils of overreaction. And Barack Obama's administration, his foreign policy could be understood as a testament to the perils of underreaction.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, the entire world is appalled by the brutal murder of Jim Foley by the terrorist group ISIL.
I found out when a hysterical AP journalist called me, sobbing on the phone. That's how I found out.
Jim was a journalist, a son, a brother, and a friend.
I mean, Jim was held nearly 2 years, nearly starved to death in the first year.
He was taken hostage nearly 2 years ago in Syria, and he was courageously reporting at the time on the conflict there.
The ISIS captors incredibly cruel in even a mental way, you know, emotional way rather, really trying to inflict a lot of pain and panic on the part of us and their hostages.
He reported from difficult and dangerous places, bearing witness to the lives of people a world away.
Jim always just had a heart for those who were vulnerable and who really didn't have a voice.
Today, the American people will all say a prayer for those who love Jim. All of us feel the ache of his absence. All of us mourn his loss. We keep in our prayers those other Americans who are separated from their families. We will do everything that we can to protect our people and the timeless values that we stand for. May God bless and keep Jim's memory, and may God bless the United States of America.
I had not felt that the government had the back of our son. That was appalling to me as an American. I thought, oh, we could do better than that.
I don't think there's any way around the fact that Syria will be a stain on his legacy.
President Obama was trying to avoid more confrontation in the Middle East, but sadly, by not engaging with some of what was happening, it did worsen, because there was a void that we did not fill that some of these jihadist groups were very quick to fill.
fellow Americans, Michelle and I have been so touched by all the well wishes that we've received over the past few weeks. But tonight it's my turn to say thanks. Whether we have seen eye to eye or rarely agreed at all, my conversations with you, the American people, in living rooms and in schools, at farms, on factory floors, at diners, and on distant military outposts. Those conversations are what have kept me honest and kept me inspired and kept me going. And every day I have learned from you. You made me a better president, and you made me a better man.
Our country seemed to be tearing apart at the seams under his presidency. And it's really amazing that it came under a president who came in with the vision and with the message that I'm going to bring us all together.
I don't think you have Donald Trump without Barack Obama. What is the sad theme of the Obama years? Here he comes thinking that the force of his reason, the force of intellect, the force of logic, his own biography. Look, man has a very healthy sense of himself, right? He thought that those things would overcome partisanship, and partisanship has only gotten worse.
For too many of us, it's become safer to retreat into our own bubbles, whether in our neighborhoods or on college campuses or places of worship, or especially our social media feeds. Surrounded by people who look like us and share the same political outlook and never challenge our assumptions.
I'm sure historians will be arguing over this for a long time, whether it was because of him or whether it was going to happen anyway, and he did the best he could to try to hold the country together for these 8 years.
We sat around in 2009 and said, we're in a post-racial America. We've got a black president with a funny name. Not just a black president, but I mean, the guy's middle name is Hussein. Who would have thunk, right? Turns out that not everybody was post-racial. For many people, the election of Barack Obama was a wake-up call that their country was changing in ways that they did not appreciate and like.
He brought the White House grace. He showed the world how to hold your head up and keep being positive.
Regardless of whatever critics he has or not, I truly believe that President Obama is going to go down in history as one of our greatest presidents for all that he did and for all that he tried to do, and just for the person that he is.
I think even people who don't like his policies recognize that in many ways he's an exemplary human being in terms of dignity and family values, intelligence, and ability to articulate a worldview.
Michelle? For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend. You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor. You have made me proud, and you have made the country proud.
He never embarrassed the United States of America, not one time. In fact, he always elevated us often beyond what we really are, made us look better to people around the world, made us more of a beacon of hope than we are even to ourselves. And no one can take that from him, no matter what they say or what they do. And while he was at it, he won the Nobel Peace Prize.
I do have one final ask of you as your president. The same thing I asked when you took a chance on me 8 years ago. I'm asking you to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. I'm asking you to hold fast to that faith, that idea whispered by slaves and abolitionists, a creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can.